Now, before I get to the argument itself, there are a few terms that I want to make sure that we're all clear on. One is what's called conceptual necessity. Something is conceptually necessary when it is essential to an idea. Certain concepts necessarily contain other concepts. So, for instance, if you're dealing with the Euclidean idea of a square, you're also necessarily talking about that contains ideas like 4 or right angles. Right? That's just necessarily a part of those ideas are contained within it. Another common example is the idea of a bachelor. If you're talking about a bachelor, you are also necessarily talking about a male and the state of being unmarried. Those ideas are contained within the concept of being a bachelor. So along with this also is the idea of conceptual impossibility. Certain things are conceptually impossible, like a circular square or a married bachelor. And when I say impossible here, I don't mean impossible like running the 4-minute mile. People thought that was impossible at one point. I don't mean that. These things cannot be. They're impossible. They're conceptually impossible. We, search the universe as we may, we will never find a married bachelor. We might find that someone that we thought was a bachelor is in fact married, but we don't have a married bachelor at that point. We have a husband, right? So these are two very crucial terms that I want you to be familiar with. The next term that I want you to be familiar with relates to causation. So causation basically has two aspects, right? The temporal aspect is one which says the cause precedes its effect in time, and it describes the causal chain in terms of moving through time, right? So for instance, Newton precedes in time his Principia, which is the book that he wrote. So this is temporal causation. But the other one, and the one that I'm principally going to be talking about today, is logical causation. The logical aspect of causation describes the causal chain extending downward in a single moment of time in order to emphasize the logical priority rather than the temporal priority of the cause. So here's a good example of someone assuming logical causation. This is Michio Kaku, and he says something which no one really contests. Gravity prevents the Earth and stars from disintegrating and holds the solar system together. Notice he's using the present tense. This is something gravity does in the present moment. Right? That's the concept we're getting at. So the effect, in this case holding the galaxy together, occurs because something is making it occur. It is a conceptual necessity of causation that things happen in the present moment. They cannot happen, notice the present tense, they cannot happen anywhere else. It's a conceptual necessity. If nothing happens in the present moment, then quite literally nothing happens. And the whole concept of causation assumes that things happen. So that's where things actually happen in the present moment. This is another term that I wanted to clarify for everybody. The idea of an efficient cause. You may have heard of efficient causes before. An efficient cause, I'm not going to use the term efficient anymore after this. I just want you to know that's what I'm referring to. But an efficient cause is a cause that actually produces the effect. Right? And so here I have 3 agents, 3 things that are acting, that are doing something in this picture, for instance. The nail acts, the hammer acts, and the carpenter acts. They're all 3 doing something. The nail moves into the wood, but it does not cause its own actions. The hammer causes the nail's actions. What causes the hammer's actions? The carpenter causes the hammer's actions. What causes the carpenter's actions? Well, if you define the carpenter as the ultimate cause in this causal chain, then you're saying that he is causing his own actions because you're not positing the existence of another agent beyond him to account for them. Right? If you define him as the ultimate cause, you're saying basically he's causing his own actions. Right? So those are some terms that you will need to refer to as we proceed.